What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Spectator Mode Podcast. This is actually episode 127, and if you notice anything different, you get to see our lovely faces for the first time in quite some time. So yeah, we're doing a video show. Hope we don't drop the ball here, but we'll do our best. I have my buddies here. We got Kyle on one side, and we've got Scott on the other. Well, Scott's actually in the middle, so he's not on the side, depending on his perspective.
Hey, I'm on the left on mine.
So depending on perspective, but yeah, this is how it is right now. We'll sort this out in pre-production or production. Won't worry about it. So we got some amazing things we want to talk about today. We are not going to talk about Forspoken. So if you came here for the show for that, we are sorry to disappoint. We're not doing it right now.
Why not?
Because you said no.
We have a lovely review on the site.
Yeah, check out the review on the site, www.outerhaven.net, Forspoken. This guy picking up his controller like he's all happy and go lucky. He's like,
it's a part. Here, look, I'll put it back there. It'll be
back. Oh, look, he's showing it again.
It's a part of the scenery now.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys. So we're actually going to talk about a couple things here. Very first thing we're going to talk about is Dead Space Remake. That is easily one of my favorite games of 2023. I'm a big fan of Dead Space. I really wish I had picked up my games, but I'm not going to do that right now. I played all the Dead Space games on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, was it? And the only one I hated was 3 because of all the things they did. It wasn't really a survival horror game anymore, but Dead Space 1 and 2 are easily some of my favorite games of all time. And now Dead Space Remake is up there with them. It's pretty much what Capcom did for Resident Evil 2 Remake. It is so amazing that from pretty much the audio system, depending if you have a good audio system, and I was sitting here playing it and it creeped the hell out of me because I'm sitting here and I'm hearing things behind me and I'm like, yo, what is going on? But it's so good. the gun sounds, the everything about this game is amazing. There's not one bad thing I can think of about this game. Not one. I know Kyle's played the game and he's not talking. He's making me feel bad. Talk about the game, man.
You're talking. I don't want to cut in over you. I didn't get a whole lot of chance to play it because I got it today. A friend bought it for me actually. But I enjoy it a lot. I didn't love the first one way back in the day. Because just as like a survival horror fan, I'm not one of those people. So I tend to get a little bored after a while. But yeah, I think I agree with Keith a lot because the remake is so awesome. I also really appreciate that Isaac talks now. Yeah. I'm kind of over silent protagonists. So, but also as probably like a hot take, I really enjoyed Dead Space 3. I think that's the only one that I actually beat.
We'll have a conversation later on. But they brought back the original voice actor for Isaac.
6 was their favorite.
Isaac's voice actor came back, and also Nicole's voice actor came back. So that was amazing. They were able to do that. What else? They have, I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to say a AI director, but it's similar, but not exactly. But pretty much, if you're doing great in the game's going to go, oh, really? You think you're doing great? I'm going to show you. And
don't tell me that.
I had that.
I've been doing great.
I had that happen a couple times. I died a couple times, and then I was doing great a couple times. And when I died, when doing great, I spawned, and there was a necromorph right behind me. I was like, dude, what? That's not even fair. How are you going to do that? That's not even cool.
It's learning.
Yeah, it's learning your habits. It's going to punish you for doing good. I guess me too, because.
Well, what's gaming going to be coming to when AI starts spawn camping you?
Oh, Lord. But I will say this. I'm going to brag, and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody here, but I am playing Dead Space on the PC. I am playing on the 4090, and I cranked that bad boy all the way up. Wow, it looks amazing. I've seen some people on Twitter.
I got the PS5 version.
I see some people on Twitter going, this game doesn't look good. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. I don't think we're playing the same game.
A 4090.
We're not playing the same game.
I have it on the PS5, and there was the moment when you walk out of their ship's called the Killian when they crash land it into the Ishimura, and I think that's probably where it looked the weakest because there was like a reflection on the walkway that you're on, and there's like steam coming up, and it looked really muddy. But since I got past that point, like the game has looked phenomenal. It's like the only part where I felt the game looked its weakest.
Did you experience any stuttering while playing the game? In certain occasions when there was like too much on the screen, or like explosions, massive explosions, like when the Killian blew up.
Yes, I had one there. Like right as I got on the ship, I picked up the audio log or the text log that was on there, and it for some reason dropped there. And then, see, there goes my dog. So if you guys can hear him.
Nope.
And then right after that part, or like right before that part, I had like played around with the performance mode. I turned performance mode off to see how much better it would look on the PS5. And it looks better, but like it was like immediate frame drop. So I was like, okay, back to performance mode, 60 frames, please.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the conversations I don't think we're going to have today, where we're at the point where people like Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 can handle all the, quality mode with all these graphics and things. And I'm like, no, I think we're back to, unfortunately, 1080p. 60 frames per second with more particles and whatnot, and people were going to get very upset about that. Welcome to technology, folks.
I'm okay with it. Back in the day, I would tell people that I don't notice 60 frames, but I think I played like Gears 4 back in the day when it came out, and I was like talking to a friend, and I was like, wow, the multiplayer feels great. And they're like, yeah, that's because it's 60 frames. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. 60 frames is amazing. But that's how I played Forspoken. I put that on performance mode, and that game takes a big hit to graphics when you put it on performance mode. Even with like ray tracing, it doesn't look the best, but it looks a lot better. But then you get like that 25-30 frame rate. So
yeah.
Oh god, I brought up Forspoken. Sorry.
I was gonna say we don't talk about Forspoken around here, sir. Thank you very much. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I could say about Dead Space, but I'm not, because I'll be here all day. I'll be gushing. I'm literally gushing about this game, and I haven't done that in a while. Well, I haven't done that since Elden Ring. If I was to review the game, I don't think I'm going to review the game. Maybe I am. I don't know. Kyle, you reviewing the game? Who's reviewing Dead Space for us? Do we know?
I didn't claim it.
No
this time.
idea. I wonder if
I assumed we probably didn't touch it because we're like, oh, Keith's super excited about it. What's the point?
Well, I did have my name down on the list, but we didn't get access to the game until like the day of, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, the day prior.
Yeah, Keith Mitchell was on the list.
The day prior.
So
yeah, it says that Keith's the one doing the review on here.
All right, fair enough. I'll think of something about it. Yeah, I mean, I really want to do a video review, but I guess you guys will have to suffer from my 200, I'm sorry, not, what am I thinking? 2,000 words about a review. I am really sorry, but that's what it is. But, we're going to segue this into the Dead Space. Wow. To the something else that Kyle used for play Dead Space. Because I think we're done talking about Dead Space. It's such an amazing game. Go play.
We?
I mean, are we?
Is this like Midnight Suns now? Is it gonna randomly pop up?
Yes.
Which, by the way, the
totally
Deadpool DLC is out for Midnight Suns, guys.
I mean, I have yet to play Midnight Suns, but hey, what's that in your hand, sir?
This is the DualSense Edge, everybody.
Oh, is that the controller everybody won't stop talking about?
Yeah, because it's got a really terrible battery life. I'm sorry, it's not terrible. I used it today for about an hour and a half.
And it died.
It did not die. But I'm paranoid because everybody says it's short, or the battery life is so short. So I was like just constantly charging it. It showed up yesterday, so I plugged it up, made sure it was fully charged, and there it is in the beautiful hard plastic case they give you.
I posted this than I expected.
I posted this on Twitter, and people were upset that I said, "Wow, this is the best package controller I've ever seen."
Sir.
Because the Elite does the same thing.
Sir.
So
I've not seen the Elite yet.
Obviously, I stand corrected. But I stand corrected there. I don't have an Elite, so I vaguely remember there being a case with it. But I do like the hard shell plastic case that comes with it.
I actually think.
Then you got all your
think the DualSense
accoutrement in there.
I think the DualSense has a harder hard shell, if that makes any sense.
I think it's a cloth one, but it's like it's like wrapped. From what I can remember seeing. I think one thing I am disappointed about it is like the big marketing with this controller was you could take out the stick modules that are here, pop those suckers out. But they don't include those.
Yeah, you got to buy them.
So you have
$20.
You have an empty space here, and you have to pay extra. So
I mean, if we're going to complain, we should complain about the fact that they should be Hall sensor joysticks in the first place. Dreamcast, you did it right. Wow, you did it right.
Way before its time.
But it's a great controller so far. Like I said, I played about an hour and a half of Dead Space today with it, and I had a great time. Very customizable. You can pop the caps off. You got your back panels I haven't put on yet. The grips are rubberized.
Nice.
Not making a joke about
and that's terrible.
There we go.
The grips are okay.
Messed them all up. I apologize.
I think my biggest thing about the whole like stick module thing is as I was reading through the booklet, and it was like if you notice that there might be a faulty stick module, you can take them out, which immediately makes me think that this thing might have an issue in the future.
I mean, there's a big amount of PlayStation controllers that have joystick drift, so you're just probably being careful there.
Probably. I think it's cool that you can buy a replacement, but it would have been nice if they would have at least given you one, especially when they warn you, like, hey, there might be an issue.
By the way, you might have a problem, so...
Yeah. But otherwise, this is a really cool controller. This is the most expensive controller that I've ever owned in my life. And I love it so far. I hope I don't break it or have a faulty stick module.
You gotta become one of those PlayStation. What is this? What is this got? PlayStation subscription tier 4 member. So if you break it,
this PlayStation Star member,
they'll be like, "Hey, we'll be right there to fix your controller." Not.
I actually had a conversation with somebody on Twitter. One of my Twitter followers DM'd me about it. He was like asking me about the whole PlayStation Star system, and I was like, I think it's really dumb, and they have underutilized certain aspects of it, like their digital collectible shelf. That thing could be really cool, but then they want you to waste reward points on like a T-Rex in a bikini, and that's really stupid.
I'm sorry, a T-Rex in a bikini.
That's just a goofy thing. It's not real. But that's like the dumb things that you can expect to find. They'll be like, it's the robot from Astro's thing. It's a boss you fought once. And I'd be like, why do I want to spend 50 points on that? It's already impossible to build up points on the Star thing unless I'm spending money or getting trophies that aren't common. So, but he has said recently he has had to use the customer service line and it sucks. Even though he's level 4, it still sucks.
Oh, jeez.
So, yep. So even though your priority, it's not good.
There's a lot of level 4s apparently.
Yeah, there's a lot of other Star level 4s who are way ahead of you in line, and you need to wait an hour.
Oof, that's terrible. That's terrible. I know you probably said it, but I'm going to have you repeat it. So overall, you said this is probably one of the best gaming experiences you've had with that controller?
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm going to play around with it. I think it would be really cool for other games, like say like Monster Hunter Rise, which still has like those switch controls on it where you have to hold like the bumper to switch things. Like if you could put that in like the back panel instead of having to like reach up here and then like to get to your potions, that would be nice. If I could just hit this on the back and just... Now I'm at potions or traps or something. That'd be awesome.
Cool. I know I am a little disappointed with, other than the battery. I was talking about the battery for a while, guys, and you guys have told me I was being, very hypercritical and I should stop. And there you go. So thank you. But the fact that it only comes with, I guess you can call them paddles in the back, 2 paddles instead of the Xbox comes with 4. So that's really weird. would have thought
Yeah, there's two paddles back there, but they give you two different ones. Like you get little nubbies. You get a little nubby paddle, which there we go.
Okay.
So if you don't want like a big paddle in your way, because I have a couple controllers that are like that, or I just don't use them because of the big paddles. These little guys are nice.
All right, that's cool. I'm glad you like
Get
the
in
controller.
I love it.
He loves it. All right, something else that I love, not the controller, is Xbox recently had their Xbox Developer Direct. When was it? Wednesday or Tuesday? I don't recall. I'm getting old. And during the show,
I think it was Wednesday.
It was the 25th.
So yeah, okay. So during
Wednesday, because I had a dentist appointment then.
Yep.
So during the show, they showed off a bunch of different things. It wasn't Xbox. It was basically developers talking about their games and whatnot. They showed a couple things. What was it? Shadow over Morrowind for Elder Scrolls Online.
It was Necrom.
Was that?
It's called Necrom.
Oh, you played the game.
I haven't played that one yet for ESO because it's not out yet.
Okay.
I think they're going to have their own direct for it soon.
Probably.
Or no, they had one immediately after that where it segued into like Bethesda's live show.
Okay.
But that one's called Necrom. And I think right now they're saying that you can get all of the other expansions for free for like a limited time.
All right.
So
I didn't watch that.
if you want to jump into ESO, now's the best time.
Oh, there you go. They also talked about Forza Motorsport. Basically, it's a reimaging or a reboot of this series. I'm a big racing game fan, and I was like, I can't say what I wanted to say. I'll just say I was very excited for everything they showed. You know, upgraded physics system. The cars look better than ever. There's more cars than ever. Upgrade system. The fact that they said they go to every track and they come back with like 3 terabytes of data. I'm like, holy crap.
That's insane.
That is insane.
That is.
And then they have to model the tracks after that. We're getting new tracks that we've never seen in Forza. I was about to say Forza Horizon and motorsports that we've ever seen before. I'm a gearhead. I was always a gearhead. You know, I was a gearhead when I was younger until somebody stole my car, which made me decide I'm not going to do that anymore.
Aw.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yikes.
So I said I was not going to do.
Did you get it back? I want to know the
I got
answer.
it back, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same
That
afterwards.
sucks.
You know when
They rip all the stuff out.
well, yeah, and then I put so much
Nah,
money into the
that
car,
sucks.
Custom exhaust and lowered it and worked on the engine, all that fun stuff, and then was like, oh, well, we're going to steal your car. And I got it back, and I was like, well, this car is not the same anymore. So I got out of the game because I was like, it doesn't make any sense, and started putting all my money into computers, and still am now.
You imagine how much different Keith's life would have been had no one stolen that car. There's an alternate timeline, Keith, where he's just like a giant douchebag.
I mean, who's to say I'm not a giant douchebag?
He owns just like this really nice car, and he's just the worst. Most insufferable person you could hang out with.
I mean, you should talk to my wife.
He's probably
a little bit.
He's probably married to Beyonce or something in that timeline.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking
I
forward.
don't like alternate dimension Keith that I've just come up with.
I'm looking forward to playing this game. I mean, this is looking like, and I'm really sorry for saying this, people. This is looking like a proper next gen racing game, and people are like,
I thought it looked better than Gran Turismo.
"Oh yeah."
When they first showed Gran Turismo off and like cars were changing on the track and stuff, like that was a messy one.
Yeah, and when I said that, I definitely was pointing fingers at Gran Turismo. So yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
I figured I'd say it. Yeah,
I'm looking
Throw
forward
it
to
out
this
there.
game. Looking forward to it. Another thing it showed off was a Hi-Fi Rush, which ended up being a shadow drop, which ended up
yes,
being an amazing.
that game is
Is
awesome.
an amazing
That was
game.
my favorite video that they showed of the developer direct.
Yeah,
But that's just
I don't know if we want to slide over into that one, but then they showed they Redfall gameplay, which I don't know. Were you guys thrilled about Redfall on that one?
looks pretty good, but I'm not gonna say it's like a must play or something like that.
When I saw it, I was like, I do want to play the game, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing it as a co-op game because there's not a lot of decent co-op games out there right now. I still thought about Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And Warhammer 40K Dark Tide,
Which is having the Dark Tide, excuse me, it's having a hell of a problem. So yeah, Yeah.
What problem is it having? Because I've played it like very recently. What's the issue?
The developers are not happy on how the game is performing. So they're the developers. They should be happy about their game, and they're not. So they're waiting.
When they say performing, like they mean sales wise, or like
there's performance issues on the Xbox.
Yeah, performance.
So I mean, I haven't heard anything on the PC.
That explains why they delayed it, huh?
Wait, what platform are you playing it on?
PC. It's not out. It's not out on Xbox. They delayed it with this announcement.
Yeah, they delayed it, and then they came out and said, "Oh, by the way, we're not going to do X, Y, Z. Sorry, you'll have to wait." So, but I want to get back to Hi-Fi Rush, because when I saw this game, I thought about Sunset Overdrive.
Yes.
Immediately thought about that game. I was like, wow, this looks just like that game. But then they came out and was like, hey, guess what? This game is coming out today. You can play it today. I was like, I can play it today? Great. And then it's on Xbox Game Pass, so I downloaded it. But also Bethesda gave you a copy for free. So thank you guys. I played it. Really like this game. I mean, this game is basically a rhythm game disguised as an action game. And it doesn't make a difference if you suck at rhythm games. You still can play the game. But if you're able to nail the rhythm or the beats precisely, you do more damage. You get more cool things on the screen flashing at you, which is cool. You know, and I saw some people complaining about the game going, well, it's a rhythm game and I suck at rhythm games. Well, it's still an action game. You don't have to nail every hit.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you can still play the game and it's still fun. Give it a try. But
Yeah, I liked what I've played so far, which again is not much. I've picked up work, so I'm a little busy lately. But for just like an action game where literally the whole world is tied into the beat of the music, it's really cool. And it plays so smoothly. I can't imagine how long they were developing this. They managed to keep it under their hat long enough.
We didn't really see any leaks of this game, so it was really a surprise.
It did leak a while ago, but then it died down. People weren't really talking about it because they were like, what exactly is this? But I'm glad that, for the most part, it wasn't like in Kotaku or IGN. People weren't really talking about it that much, so that was good.
I like the developer who was standing there talking about it. He was like, if you think this game is scary, then I'm in real trouble.
And I like the fact, so a lot of people thought about that Shinji Mikami, I always pronounce the name wrong, is his game. It's not his game. He was just an executor.
No, it's that guy he had with him.
Yeah, it's like, this is not my game. So a lot of people kept saying it was his game. It's not his game. He's working on something else that we don't know of yet. So
it's something scary, guys.
It's the Evil Within 3. Please be that game. Please be that game. We need another.
The rhythm.
I want a Ghostwire sequel.
Did it do that good to get a sequel?
I don't think so. But I thought it was a really cool game, and I think it's one of the best games that utilizes the DualSense the best. So, I mean, it uses like the touch screen and everything. Like the voice comes through the speaker on the controller. The adaptive triggers work differently for like each of your spells. It was a really cool experience with the DualSense.
I thought it was pretty cool on PC. It just wasn't enough to keep my attention, given that what else came out during that time. So that's that's always an issue. What else came out?
I can't remember what came out around then. Was it close to Horizon? Came out in March, right?
No, let's take a look. Ghostwire Tokyo, or was it the other way around? I always pronounce the game wrong.
It's Ghostwire Tokyo.
What came out around that time? Well, as we sit here in silence. March 25th. Oh.
Yeah, March 25th.
Yeah.
If it's anything around a month of Elden Ring.
Yep.
There you
go. Came out around Elden Ring. Goodbye. So sad. When was Elden Ring's exact?
Games came out between like February and March. It was just going to be Keith was gone.
Yeah, February 25th was Elden Ring.
We didn't see much of Keith.
Yeah, we got access to Elden Ring like a month before the game came out, and I was pretty much. I told you, I was like, guys, leave me alone. I'm not going to be around. I'm playing through the game.
It could be work done on the website, but it's all yours now. Bye.
Yeah.
We get immersed fighting all the tarnish.
That was such a good time. I really enjoy Elden Ring. But we're not talking about Elden Ring. Excuse me.
It's just like Dead Space. Can't talk about it. Or Midnight Suns.
I mean, Midnight Suns. But what else came? What else they talked about? It wasn't really a long direct. They came out with these games. They talked about these games, and it was like, all right, it's over. It was pretty much like a Nintendo direct.
I don't remember the first game.
Minecraft Legends.
It was Hi-Fi Rush, Minecraft Legends. There you go.
Yes,
I don't care about that one. That to me. They came out with like a tranquilizer dart immediately, and I was like, so
yeah. I'm not a big fan of Minecraft. Anything Minecraft, I just don't care. So
I only really play Minecraft with my nephew.
I mean, I tried to play the Minecraft game that came out a while ago. What was it?
Minecraft Dungeons.
Yeah. And then it put me to sleep, like Kyle just said. It wasn't. I really didn't care.
Well, it's just like Diablo, but without any difficulty or challenge.
So it's not Diablo.
We've covered the whole direct, honestly. Unless you guys want to swing back around to Redfall, and how you felt about that gameplay.
Well, we just talked about that.
Otherwise, it was ESO, Forza, Minecraft, and Redfall, and then Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. So. And Hi-Fi Rush stole the stage for me.
The crazy part about Hi-Fi Rush too is it was in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
They slid it in the middle and were like, you can play it now.
And that's where everybody was like, oh my God, really? Gone.
You do that if there's more to go.
I mean,
yeah, then I was like, well, I guess I'll watch Redfall, but
I literally lost a lot of the direct lost a lot of my attention the second that Forza came on, and I'm sitting there going, Forza, what about Forza? This Forza. And then I kept going back and like, okay, he said this. And then the time I actually caught up, he was like, Hi-Fi Rush. And I was like, oh, Hi-Fi Rush. And I was done. So I didn't care. I mean, it was a nice direct. I'm glad that it came out. I'm glad that Xbox gave the developers time to talk about their games. But it was like, okay, great. You talk about 5 games, and I only really cared about 2 of them. And I was done.
Yeah.
It was a bad show. It was a good show. It was a good show.
Honestly, the pacing and like the presentation of the show is probably one of the best that they've done in a while.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad show at all. Like I said, I thought Legends was boring. And I was glad to see more of Redfall. I just think it's kind of the same gameplay they keep showing us. So
and it's different.
I'm like, hey, I'm kind of bored watching the same like presentation.
It's weird because they like say that it's not like this, and then they show the gameplay that's exactly how they say it's not.
Yeah,
and it's just like, are you sure we're looking at the right game?
Yeah, and it looks really fun. Like I love like the aesthetic of like you can stick like stakes on the gun and stuff.
Yeah,
I think what everybody really wants.
There's a bunch of different wacky vampires, but
to be honest, and they stopped this. I think what everybody really wanted was Starfield, and they were like, Starfield's not going to be in here, and a lot of people were like, oh.
Yeah, they got us on that one. That one's getting its own direct eventually. So
whatever that is.
One of these days.
probably this summer. Because I don't think we're getting Starfield anytime soon. I know there was a rumor there that was coming out like beginning middle of this year, but I think it's going to be a end of the year game.
All those people that were taking CD keys as a valuable resource, and it's just like, no.
Yeah.
It's not coming out in March. I can say that.
Yeah, I mean,
because you've already got Redfall in May, so I can't see them looking to put out another Bethesda game that's gonna like trump that.
No, it's gonna be at least the end of June, is my guess.
Maybe.
Well,
but summer's usually dry. So
yeah,
I mean, this summer is going to be interesting. Not for gaming, but just the fact that we're let's talk about that. That's a good topic to talk about. So this summer is going to be weird because we have E3 2023. E3 is back.
Yes, we do.
Repop is taking care of E3 this year, so they're used to taking care of big gaming events, and it will be the first on-site since 2019. So a lot of people are happy to get back to E3. Also, Microsoft revealed that they're also going to have something at E3. You're going to use their Microsoft Theater or whatever it's called. So they're going to have a physical presence there as well. Only one we're waiting to hear about is Sony.
I don't think they're coming back. I think they pulled out of E3 like years before the pandemic knocked everybody out. So
like 2017 or something.
Yeah, I think they're just going to keep on with their directs, the way they keep their state of plays as it is. So
it would be nice to see them come back to E3 though. just because
It would be.
just because
I agree.
I missed them. And like when like especially good example is a PAX East. You know, I was really saddened that none of them were there. I was like, why? I'm here to see the big games and the small games. And there was no Microsoft. There was no PlayStation. There was
PAX
nothing.
West instead of PAX East for some reason.
Yeah, what the hell? We got ripped off. We should have went to PAX West last year.
You know, right? PAX
Then we
West
could
did
have
all the
seen
cool stuff.
Microsoft and Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, maybe because we're on the East Coast and they're like, we don't care about your East Coast people. Psh, whatever.
Like, they're like, that's Boston.
Kinda-
I mean,
like that.
it makes sense, I think, for Microsoft because their headquarters is literally down there and down on the West Coast. So
There's airplanes. Bring
they
your
don't have
butt
to
down
go
here.
very far.
Fly. I mean, we're paying you money.
Yeah.
Fly. Get over here.
Though it is kind of humorous that they did go to the East Coast near PAX East, but they went to go check on Bethesda, not to do anything about PAX East.
Whatever.
Like, you guys okay, Bethesda?
You know what? Actually, I want to talk about. So I'm pretty sure you guys all know who Maximilian is. You know, big streamer, plays a lot of fighting games. He actually came out with a list of his top 10 fighting games. And it's not the top 10 fighting games that he likes. He basically thinks these are the top 10 fighting games that made an impact on the genre. I don't know if he wanted you to play fighting games anymore. I know that you, Scott.
Lately.
Say again?
Lately.
I know Scott plays a lot of Smash.
Yes,
he does. So this list, and I just want you guys to see if you agree with this list. So top 10, Soul Calibur 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Street Fighter 4, Tekken 3, Mortal Kombat 2, Virtua Fighter 2, and Street Fighter 2. Now, again, these are the games that had the most impact on the fighting game genre.
Yeah, it's interesting there's no King of Fighters in that list.
Why is Mortal Kombat not number one?
Oh, here we go with this. This is a Mortal Kombat fan over there. Well,
no, but think about it. Mortal Kombat's the whole reason why we have the ESRB now.
I mean,
it has the most impact on the game.
I mean, we're talking about fighting games, not just showing blood
the most impact
and gore. I mean, come on now.
That has had the most impact on just gaming as a whole.
We can argue
the whole reason why we have a rating system now for parents to look at things is because of Mortal Kombat, which actually, just as a side note, I just watched Violent Night last night. And if they don't in the future put Santa Claus with David Harbour's Santa as a fighter, I'm going to be livid. The way he takes out John Leguizamo in the end is a Mortal Kombat finisher.
I have not watched that movie.
It is. Can I spoil it?
I mean, sure.
It's on Peacock. You can watch it on Peacock. But what he does is, like, John Leguizamo's about to, like, kill Santa. And he tells John Leguizamo, he's like, not if you still believe. And, like, the way he goes up chimneys is he's like that and, like, goes up the chimney. Well, he grabs John Leguizamo and, like, does his, like, nose blow and goes up the chimney and drags John Leguizamo, who can't go up the chimney with him. And it, like, breaks him in half and drags him up the chimney. And Santa comes out standing on top, holding him, like cradling him in his arms, and it's just like a torso that's been dragged.
So he didn't yell, finish him.
It is the most intense thing in the whole movie. Like, Santa's killing people with like a sledgehammer and stuff, and it's like, cool, he's killing those guys like John Wick style. But then he just brutalizes John Leguizamo's character, and I was like, he needs to be in Mortal Kombat.
Well, my daughter saw this and she loved it, and I was like, you love a movie about Santa Claus killing people?
Dude, it's super fun. It's so dumb. It gives him like a background where like Santa used to be a Viking and he was just kind of like a real jerk. For lack of a better word, he was like the worst. Huh. They called him like Nicomas the Red, and he was like caving in people's skulls with a big hammer and stuff. And I guess at one point he decided he didn't want to do that anymore. He wanted to be nice. And that's where he kind of started to become Santa Claus. And I swear, man, I watched this ending and I was like, holy crap, if we don't get him in a future Mortal Kombat game, someone's dropped the ball somewhere.
Anyway, let's get back to this. I kind of agree with his list for the most part. Kyle already says he disagrees with that. The only difference here is I would take out Soul Calibur 2 and put in Soul Calibur. And the only reason it's because the only reason he has Soul Calibur 2 in here is because of the character
characters.
the specific characters for consoles. Now, I played a boatload of Soul Calibur 1 on the Dreamcast, and I thought it was easily I thought it was easily one of the best fighting games of all time. Soul Calibur on Dreamcast.
He put 2 on there because they had exclusive content. That's not genre defining. That's just
I mean, Soul Calibur 1, I would agree, but that's also because it was like the first fighting game that gave us a 3D arena and a 2D space, which I thought was awesome at the time.
You know, I was really surprised that there was no. I was just waiting for him to put it, but there's no They're Alive on there. Obviously, it should not be there, but it's not on there.
It gave us the best
genre, man. It gave us some of the best physics.
I was going to say it gave us jiggle physics. You know, that's genre defining because we see it everywhere now. So that should have been there.
It gave us a really awesome volleyball game. A couple of them.
I mean, anyone who's played Dead or Alive 3 knows that there's like 2 different expansions. That is like one of the most expensive Xbox games.
We're talking genre defining.
It's ridiculous.
Street Fighter 2, I agree with. Mortal Kombat 2, I definitely agree with. I'm sorry. Virtua Fighter 2, I agree with. Like I said, I agree with everything on this list. I don't know about having 2 Smash games on here, though, but they...
Probably put Melee above Ultimate, though. Melee probably had the best balance in terms of where it took the fighting genre. Ultimate was just the best way of doing that.
I know, I'd probably take out Mortal... I'm sorry, you said Mortal. Jeez, I'd probably take out Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and put in X-Men vs. Street Fighter because it did it first. The whole simultaneously tag teaming and specials, they did it first because they combined Marvel, which pretty much it was all the X-Men and Street Fighter characters. And
I feel like the list is a little padded. Like,
what do you mean? I was waiting for you to follow up with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to articulate a little better here.
Your thoughts for a second.
Yeah, like you just said, why is there 2 Super Smash Brothers games on there? I feel like you could just put Super Smash Brothers and then break down the games that helped define the future of the genre.
So what he said is Super Smash Brothers Melee because of the gameplay, and Super Smash Brothers Ultimate because of the sheer amount of characters on the roster. He even went so far as to point a joke at Fortnite, saying they're just buying people, but Nintendo had made a point to getting characters into the game, which actually made a difference. But still, I don't think there should be 2 of them.
Yeah, definitely on that one. I mean, that's definitely true because Fortnite characters are just skins. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're not doing anything different
for the game. But yeah, I feel like you could just take Super Smash Brothers and just do one long why this has been so genre defining. Because even from like the first Super Smash Brothers, I remember as a kid like bawling my eyes out because my mom wouldn't buy it for me, and then getting it for like Christmas or a birthday, and just staying up all night playing this like party brawler with my friends, you know. So I feel like you could really just be like, you know, Super Smash Brothers started this, and then you can be like, but Melee did this, and now we're here at Ultimate, and, you know, it's got a super massive amount of characters that all are unique to their own fighting styles, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like it's a little padded as far as numbers, rankings go.
Okay.
But I don't think it's misguided.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, it's a good list.
Yeah.
I do have some... I don't want to say frustrations. I mean, if I had a chance to talk to him, I would be asking him like exactly why you put these in this particular order. But I totally get it. I mean, Street Fighter 2 is, you know, the reason why we have fighting games. More fighting games that do more things now. Virtua Fighter 2 is the reason why we have 3D fighting games. Virtua Fighter 2 is the reason why we ended up getting Tekken. You know, I totally.
I think he missed a good opportunity to mention that live action Street Fighter tie-in. That was a fighter. He could have talked about that. That was a good one.
No, that was terrible. That was a terrible game. That was a terrible game. Why would you bring that game up ever? For guys, for those who don't know,
why?
it, he talked
because the Street Fighter movie is terrible, but it's still fantastic.
It's a great watch in parties, but it's a bad watch for criticism.
If you ever played that Street Fighter movie game, you would gouge out your eyes and go, "Why did I ever play this game again?" It was not a good game. It was.
The Dragon Ball Evolution game is better.
Oh my god!
Just don't watch the movie and play the game.
Never watched the movie. Dear God, never watched the movie.
Man, I love the Street Fighter movie. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. You can't be like, wow, this movie was dumb. I hate it.
I'm still little.
Raul Julia is Bison.
I miss him. Like you mentioned, I would have probably taken up Melee, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and probably put it in one of the King of Fighter games because, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the series as much as maybe I should be, but I grew up playing King of Fighters, and that series did so many things to the genre. I mean, it introduced 3-on-3 fighters, which was something that hasn't been done before. There was trying to remember which one it did it, but it had a lane system, but you can hop between the lanes. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Yeah,
it was a good game. No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. I'm confusing that with Fatal Fury. Excuse me. Fatal Fury. Fatal Fury did that. King of Fighters was the 3-on-3 fights. No, I do think that maybe he should have brought that in there. But it's still not a bad list.
You know what game that, like, I played this as a kid, and you guys might remember it if you ever played it, but it was on, like, the Super Nintendo, and as a fighter. And I want to say it was called like Primal Fury or like Primal Rage.
Dinosaurs? Primal Rage.
It is like kaijus basically, and you could eat people to get health back. I love that game.
I played Primal Rage at my local college. When I was supposed to be in college doing work, I was down in the lounge playing Primal Rage.
That game was amazing.
That game is probably why I didn't finish college. Thanks, Primal Rage.
I wish we could have another one. I want to see like just a PS5 version of Primal Rage where I'm playing as like a giant raptor and I'm picking up people and eating them.
Yeah, I'll get back to that. I really agree with the list. I just wanted to just point that out there and see if you guys, because I knew Scott definitely plays a lot of fighting games. I thought he'd be interested in that list or not.
We still have Fire Emblem to talk about.
Oh, Fire Emblem. I totally forgot about that. That's a game that I have not played. I was thinking about playing it, but I haven't played it. So, Scott, maybe you can sell me on this game. And keep in mind, I've never played Fire Emblem in my life.
You've never played a Fire Emblem?
I like strategy RPGs, but I've never played it.
You don't have a bar for Fire Emblem games.
Never played
because this game is very divisive right now in the Fire Emblem community. Those who really loved Three Houses do not like Engage.
Why?
Anyone who started Fire Emblem before Three Houses loves it.
What's wrong?
And that's mainly because Three Houses introduced a lot of social mechanics, introduced a lot of like extra things you can do alongside of the combat, as well as fleshing out a lot of the characters. So every character has a lot bigger of a backstory and a presence in the Three Houses games. Or I guess game, but I guess Three Hopes is technically still a part of that, but whatever. So Engage returns back to, say, like the days of Awakening and Fates, where the characters are only a little fleshed out. They're more like tropey, but they're tropey with heart kind of a deal. It's not like bad trope as much as these characters are someone that you could see in, like, say, a cartoon or an anime.
When you say trophy,
that's
are
like
you
their
referring to like Smash, or am I off base here?
No, okay. Trophy as in characters that have more stereotypical mindsets.
Okay.
Like you have the big brute, you have the armored girl who looks very scrawny but is actually very powerful kind of a deal. That's something that just happens.
Have the female knight who's probably a little dumb and clumsy.
Exactly. Like you have those like tropes of characters.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying like trophies. You tropes. I'm getting old. Yes.
No.
These characters are trophies. So the worst way to win a war. They just keep throwing trophies at us.
I mean, trophies hurt.
We bomb them.
Get hit with a trophy. They hurt.
So a lot of people
hurts worse, the sword.
Fire Emblem on Three Houses, which actually is a lot because, you know, the Switch is a very popular console. So the first Fire Emblem on Switch was a lot of people's first experience in a Fire Emblem game. Engage was more of a return to the form of a lot more intricate mechanics in terms of its combat, its classes, and how it balances the gameplay. Whereas Three Houses was a lot more about the story, the narrative, and the characters. The combat was a little lackluster in Three Houses because the maps were you just go to one place and you beat the big baddie like in every map. Or you just run away 1 or 2 lines away. Engage introduces the objectives again, where you have to go to this or go to that, and then go to the big baddie. So you have to actually plan strategy surrounding what units go to which location in order for you to finish the turn order, kind of a deal. That's been something that's happened in a lot of like the DS and the 3DS Fire Emblem games. Engage brings that back, which a lot of people really liked and a lot of people really disliked, because those who are a lot more casual with Three Houses and were more used to the very one objective maps are now just like, what do I do? There's so many things I have to choose from now. And so Engage returns it to kind of like the best balance in gameplay that it's had since the 3DS games, in my opinion. If you like SRPG type games, Fire Emblem Engage is probably the better one to get than Three Houses, just because Three Houses is, again, about the story, the narrative, and kind of like the world building kind of a deal. Engage is not so much about that.
And getting homies.
And, yes, having your harem in Three Houses.
Yeah.
Which Three Houses does a really good job with, because you could literally steal people from other people's houses.
I'm sorry,
so eventually your one house
so you can kidnap people? What? You're playing a game about kidnapping people?
You could just convince them to join you.
By
being friends with them at school. So
it's like kidnapping with consent.
That doesn't make any sense, but okay, go ahead.
You're like, listen, we'll fight in this battle, right? And I'll fake stab you. You bring some ketchup with you, and you're like, oh, I'm dead. And then we'll take your corpse with us, and
yeah, you'll be
on our team.
Okay. All right.
So Engage, though, does a lot of things, I think, in terms of like what people didn't like of the older Fire Emblem games, where the story isn't nearly as profound or as like this is really telling you how to do something. It's a lot more basic and easy to follow. And a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of having a basic, easy to follow story, because they're now so used to the Three Houses, there's so many things going on in the background kind of storytelling. I do prefer Engage's storytelling because I like the combat the best, because I've played Fire Emblem games before Three Houses. I did like Three Houses, don't get me wrong. I just think that Three Houses did bring with it a different casual fan base that thinks Fire Emblem is different than how it actually is supposed to be.
I don't understand. If you're a fan of Fire Emblem regardless, why would you not like another game in the series? Is it really that different?
Gamers don't like change. They don't like change at all. Gamers are really hard to please. If you change something, they get really upset.
Excuse me, sir. I'm a gamer and I love change.
Dead Space 3.
That was terrible change. There's a difference. You don't take a game and take it out of survival horror and then make it you try to emulate.
It was definitely more action.
And you try to emulate of Gears of War,
Resident Evil,
and then you put the semantics to build stuff behind microtransactions.
I don't remember the microtransaction part, but that's annoying.
Because people were like, "Screw it, we're not going to do it. We're just going to play the game."
Yeah.
And co-op.
So I really enjoy Fire Emblem Engage. The character art is fantastic. The textures and stuff is so much better than Three Houses textures. And another fun thing,
combat scenes.
Yeah, the combat scenes are great. I
watched one earlier. Yeah, I watched one earlier where the guy was fighting a spear user, and the spear user swung and actually damaged the environment.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool little detail.
You can actually use strategies with that based on what character can. They can put fire-tipped arrows or poison-tipped daggers to poison and put areas on fire or poison, so that when other people go there, they then get attacked and get passive setbacks.
Right.
So there's consequences for them to try to attack you.
That's
so it's
awesome.
Just it adds more strategy to beat your opponents, because Fire Emblem actually is a lot about baiting opponents to get to certain locations so that you can then just destroy them with strategy, kind of a deal.
Fire Emblem kill box.
Yeah, You want to bait your opponents to then just surround them and kill them, because especially like if you're on a maddening difficulty, you don't want to lose a single unit. If you lose a unit in maddening difficulty, like on say classic, they're gone. You no longer have that unit ever.
I have a funny story like that. I used to play. I think I had one on the advanced, and I had this assassin who like I loved, and he made it through like most of the game with me, and I did a wrong move, and like I think back then it was like daggers were weak to axes. So this like raider comes up out of nowhere and just one shots this guy and kills him. And I think I just shut the game off and
Kyle
never went
sat
back.
there and cried for a couple hours. He was like, "No!" And the guy never came back.
It really did hurt me in a way where I was like, I can't play this over again. I just shut it off, put it down, walked away. So,
but that's also part of like the experience people liked of the older Fire Emblems is
the permadeath.
The permadeath feature, because it made you grow attached to the characters, even if they didn't have like a lot of character to them. You're just like, I've built this character so strong so that I can't lose him. But if he gets killed, I'm screwed.
I learned at an early age. I don't like permadeath. Thanks, Fire Emblem.
I'm glad Fire Emblem now has, the option of permadeath rather than makes it a necessity.
Yeah, I'd rather them fall down, scrape their knees, and get a boo-boo, and they can't fight for a battle, and then come back later.
And so when because if you have permadeath versus not permadeath, they have different lines when they get killed in a battle. If you don't have permadeath, they'll be just like, well, I don't want to die here, so I'll just leave. Or if they're dead, they have dramatic death scenes.
So let me ask you the most important question: can you get married in that game?
I don't know, actually. I hear that
you can,
but I also hear other states that you can. But I haven't reached the point where you can get married. They still have the support bonds, and they're very lackluster unless they're with your main character. They have support bonds between other characters, which some are really humorous. I think one of my favorite characters to watch bonds with is Buturus. Everyone just likes to point out how just big he is because he has a big physique, but he's secretly just like the nicest guy. And so they all think that he's just like he's intimidating or some way, and he just wants to help everyone better themselves. So he tries to he'll want to train people to get like tougher or stronger because he wants them to feel better about themselves. And it's just a fun dynamic of seeing him try to push so many people to their best kind of a deal. But so many people don't like him because he's an early party member and he's an under-leveled early party member, so they never use him, so they never get to see his support stuff.
Yeah, so there is a romance feature, but there's no marriage and no children.
Okay.
So,
which is ironic considering the name of the game and the whole premise of it being around rings.
Yeah, right. They're like, that's too on the nose, guys. Let's not do that. But you apparently do get a scene of them announcing their love for one another. Like you get a sweet scene, and that's it.
Okay, so
that's what Google says anyway.
So no marriage. Okie dokie.
Maybe there's a new game plus.
New game plus. All right.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend this for anybody who's never played a Fire Emblem, or would you recommend them going?
I think this is a great first one for Fire Emblem because it gives you a lot of options, and they have a really easy difficulty setting. And them having the choice of not having permadeath, it means that you're more likely to continue with the game, because even if you do make a few dumb moves and have someone die, you'll still probably make it in through the end.
Yeah, they just get a Band-Aid. They're fine.
Yeah, exactly. They just kiss the boo-boo and they're good to go.
Yeah, you take them back to base and you're like, hey man, see you in the next battle.
Even if you aren't sure about how team composition works in Fire Emblem, they now have a rating system based on the map that you're in. That if you have a higher rating on a certain character, it means that, this person is great for this map against these characters. If they have a low rating, it means you probably want to put them in the back lines.
Okay. No, they're going up front with me.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it a try.
Frontline.
Who knows?
But I think it's a great first time for Fire Emblem users. I think also Three Houses is too. Three Houses, again, is an easier one, but its focus is more about the narrative than it is about the combat. So if you want to experience true Fire Emblem combat, Engage is the way to go.
So you just confused me. I was already set on playing this. Now you're saying Three Houses is also good. So either one is good. Gotcha.
Either one's good. It's just what you want from a game. If you just want the story and romance and waifu options, you have Three Houses.
Yeah, if you want a nice socialization game, you go for Three Houses.
If you want to experience difficulty or just having a balanced gameplay system that's also a lot more about creativity and balancing out like character and unit types, Engage is a really good one to go with. Because I think that Three Houses is a lot easier in the sense of its combat and its balance, but Engage is a lot more engaging, oddly enough.
Given the name, or given the Nokia Engage as well. Gotcha.
They were talking. Oh my god, the Engage. Oh my god. I remember being a kid and want one of those so bad. I was like, "Mom, it's a phone. Bandit plays games."
I think every kid wanted.
You hold it up to your ear like a weird brick. That's how I would talk to people. That thing was weird.
Did you ever get one?
No, because that thing died like within like 8 months. It wasn't around very long at all.
No, it was not. It wasn't. It was pretty cool though, but it wasn't around very long. I mean, it wasn't like the Virtual Boy. Oh god,
it was a concept.
Yeah, Virtual Boy was also a concept, but it sold and it was terrible.
It made you go colorblind.
They actually made games for the Virtual Boy.
I would love to talk to somebody who actually owned a Virtual Boy. Like, so how are your eyes now?
I'm playing it like at like a Target sample, like if
one of those kiosks.
I'm having a brain fart. Yeah, one of their little kiosks. They had it set up on a thing where we're like getting on there as a kid, like, this is so awesome. And now we have VR headsets, and I'm like, God, I was a stupid kid.
You were just a kid, that was what was cool back then. And now you're a stupid kid now.
It's true.
Because you want to play with the new VR stuff.
when the Game Boy had the camera and the printer option.
Oh yeah.
And like you had like a really bad pixelated picture of yourself and print out on a little like,
but it was
piece
so
of
cool.
Thermal
it was so cool.
Printer tape.
And you had to like buy a whole new ink cartridge for that thing because it was so like odd.
Yep.
All right, so let me ask you guys.
We had weird stuff back in the day.
Let me ask you, since we're at the end of the show, name one upcoming game that you're looking forward to this year.
Wild Hearts.
Fair enough.
Which that comes out soon. And I mean, because I love Monster Hunter games and I hope it's good.
I know you've been on your Rise kick for the last couple of days.
Yeah, because I got Forspoken out of the way, so now I'm playing Rise. I'm playing a good game.
Jeez. All right.
I'm just kidding. Forspoken's not a bad game.
What about you, Scott?
All right, the game that I'm looking forward to is the Trails into Reverie localization.
I mean, why did we even ask him? I mean,
that's what we should just look up like the most obscure JRPG and be like, that's what Scott's gonna play.
All right, so my answer isn't really clear cut just because of dates. Because
You said one.
I said one, but here's the thing: I'm looking forward to Starfield. I don't think that's coming out this year. I just feel it's not coming out this year.
I think it's coming out this year. I think, like I said, it's going to be an end of the year game. It's going to be Xbox's end of the year AAA entry.
So if that does not come out, obviously, I mean, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna say it. Wulong Fallen Dynasty. See, here's the problem. There's a lot of Souls-like games coming out this year. You got Lies of P. You've got Star Wars.
Oh, I forgot about that game.
Star Wars P looks good.
Was Star Wars Jedi Survivor?
Jedi Survivor.
You've got Wulong Fallen Dynasty. That's coming out as well. I'm really looking forward to Star Wars. So you know what? Star Wars is a game I'm looking forward to this year.
And that's soon, right?
March.
Is that March? Okay.
Yeah, March.
Wulong is coming out in February.
Yeah, the end of the year is pretty unclear, I'd say. Like, we haven't really talked about much. I feel like Sony said something's coming out at the end of the year.
I have a feeling that we're going to have a state of play of soon.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out end of the year.
Yeah, that should be coming out at the end of the year. Spider-Man 2 should be in the fall.
Oh, yeah, that's coming out this year. Yeah. Which, I don't know. I guess I'm not really looking that far into the future because, I mean, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so that would be my big thing. But I guess since there's no release dates for a lot of stuff, it's kind of hard to be like, this is what I want to play later.
Yeah. And that's why I was Starfield. Like, I want to play Starfield, but there's no date coming out yet. So I don't know. Something's telling me it's not coming out this year. I mean,
yeah. So So with like everything that like I do know and release date wise, I'm gonna go with Wild Hearts, followed by Yakuza Ishin.
Oh, right. That
So
is
he's
coming out.
so
Oh my gosh.
Yakuza Samurai game. Here we go.
all right. So fair enough. All right. Well, I'm gonna go see what the wife wanted because she came in and gave me the evil look. So I guess with that, we're gonna call the show. We're finished. Thanks for checking out the first video episode of the Spectator Mode Podcast. We look forward to doing many more this year. I need to get a sign on my door that says I'm recording. Please don't come in here. Thank you for watching. And as always, you can check out the audio version over at Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm literally counting on my fingers. Google Podcasts, Buzzsprout. And wherever else you can hear good gaming podcasts or any podcast whatsoever, you can always check
Amazon.
Yeah, Spotify, man. You can check us out on Twitter. You can also check us out on YouTube. This video will be on YouTube. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, and check out all the great gaming and geek culture stuff over at Outerhaven.net. Can't forget that because Carl will come up and punch me in the face for forgetting that. That is it. Thank you for watching, and we plan on having many more of these in the future. We just got to nail down a consistent date.
Yes.
All right.
It's all Scott's fault. Scott's always
fault.
busy.
Blame Scott.
Scott's the busiest guy.
busy.
Scotty didn't know. All right, folks.
Yeah, it's not me. I'm not the one holding this back.
Yeah.
Not at
It's
all.
totally my fault. Because
It's me.
all right, thanks for watching, folks.
Bye.